Need cheap coins right now? Check out redzonecoins.com. For the very best discount available, use code DIRECTOR for 20% off. Kia ora, brothers, what's up? It's the Director. Chargers fans, this is it. This is the moment I think the Chargers could potentially turn this whole season around. Now, there's going to be a lot of skeptics in the comments, but I'm very much so prepared for that. I'm ready to throw my fist up in the air and rally all the believers. All the Chargers fans that see the same things I see in this team. The potential to take this league by storm against all the odds and the doubt. In this video, I want to share with you guys my thoughts on how this Chargers team could potentially go 10-6 by season's end. Now, this is a hugely optimistic take. I get it. This team is 1-4. We're dealing with a ton of issues, but at the same time, there is plenty of evidence to suggest that this is possible. And a lot of it has to do with timing, opportunity, experience, and personnel. And before we get into the thick of it, guys, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this content. Small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification helps me out a lot. Also, check out the store if you guys want to pick up a Stay Frosty Kyoto or Lights Camera Action t-shirt to support the channel in that way. Let's get into this video. Lights, camera, action. The 1-4 Chargers are facing a very important crossroads right now. They have lost the last 4 games straight by a score or less. The team is missing a huge amount of names due to injury, and many fans are beginning to question the coaching staff as well. And some fans, including myself, are growing more and more frustrated with the lack of success. I totally get it. It's looking bleak out there. But let's just take a second here to step back. Let's take a look at the big picture at what's going on here. Because despite all the setbacks, the Chargers have proven to be a legitimate threat in the NFL. And we may be ready to break out of this cold streak in a big way. As I mentioned before, there's many factors to this. Let's start with the timing. Where are the Chargers right now? Well, we're 1-4 headed into the bye week. I know it's frustrating. But this bye week, honestly, is kind of a lucky break for the Chargers because it was previously scheduled for later in the season, but was pushed up due to scheduling changes. This is very significant for a few big reasons. Let's address the most obvious reason first, injuries. The Chargers are missing a staggering amount of players on the roster due to injury. From Derwin James exiting the season early in training camp to a recent injury like Austin Eckler in week 4. This is a bigger contributing factor than most people realize to our lack of success right now. We're talking about 1/3 of our team not taking the field on a weekly basis. And not just 1/3 worth of backups and decent players, but 1/3 made up of some of the best talent in the NFL. This bye week could be the key to a huge comeback for the Chargers starting in week 7, because the cavalry is coming. Now let's go over the injuries for the Chargers and when these players are expected to return. And there's so many big names in this list, guys. Starting with Austin Eckler, hamstring injury. He's expected to be back somewhere between week 8 and week 10. So games after the bye that he'd miss are between 1 and 3. Chris Harris Jr., foot injury. He's also expected back in the exact same time period, so he may miss 1 to 3 games after the bye. But that's at most. Melvin Ingram placed on IR with knee soreness. He's expected to be back as soon as week 7. And then some other guys that have been playing not at 100%, like Joey Bosa with a triceps and knee injury. I'm expecting him to come back in full in week 7. Keenan Allen, who suffered from a back injury, I expect him to be at full health in week 7. Mike Williams with a hamstring tweak. Casey Hayward with an unknown. Uchenna Nwosu with an unknown. I all expect these guys to be back in week 7. And then 2 significant players that have missed so much time in Brian Bulaga and Trey Turner. I fully expect them to heal up over the bye. Guys, we're talking about 10 huge playmakers potentially returning by week 8. 10 of the best players in the NFL. Now, granted, this doesn't mean there will not be any setbacks. There's a significant chance that some of these players do return at under 100%. There's a chance that we see even more injuries as the season goes on. But for now, all I see are the Chargers reloading. Down but not out, returning with a fury. That's what I'm focused on, because any one of these players returning is a big deal, but all 10? All of a sudden, we could be looking at one of the most dangerous teams in the league. Now, let's touch on another factor I mentioned mentioned at the top of this video, experience. The Chargers have a valuable opportunity to step back and assess the situation that we're in. And this breather, this regroup is a huge deal for this particular team. See, the Chargers have kind of been playing on the fly this past month. Plans changed dramatically. Now I get it, it's the job of the coaches to learn, adapt, and find success regardless of setbacks. But this season in particular has been exceptionally different. From the looming threat of COVID to the significant injuries, these coaches have likely faced the most challenging season of their careers. Let's start on the defensive side. Gus Bradley. He had to cope without most of his best players. Players that you build your entire scheme around, Derwin James probably being the biggest one. But let's not forget names like Drew Tranquill, Melvin Ingram, Chris Harris Jr., Justin Jones, and recently Casey Hayward, Uchenna Nwosu, and a hobbled Joey Bosa. That's a huge shift. And although I still think we have some decent talent defensively to work with, it's a big challenge to adapt. Now, this doesn't excuse his odd and lackluster defensive play calling, but it does play a pretty big role. But let's take a look at the offense. Let's take a look at the biggest change this team has endured this year by far. The unleashing of rookie quarterback Justin Herbert. Sometimes, and very rarely, will a team stumble on a player that can completely transform the identity of a team. Players like Patrick Mahomes transformed the Chiefs into Super Bowl winners. Players like Lamar Jackson transformed the Ravens into a legitimate contender. The Chargers just found that player in Justin Herbert. And to me, at least, it feels like the Chargers had no idea what to do with him in the first quarter of the season. You see, Herbert was thrusted into the lineup with no notice. He, as well as the coaching staff, were not prepared for him to lead this team offensively. But what we found out rather quickly is that this kid is the genuine article. Herbert is doing things that only few players have ever done in their rookie season, and some would say he's doing them even better, already shattering rookie records and on pace to break even more. But it almost feels like the Chargers don't know how to use a weapon like this, at least not yet, because even with all of Herbert's impressive games, it's still pretty evident that they've been playing him way too conservatively. It's time to wake up, Chargers. This isn't a throwaway season anymore. This isn't a let's get by with Tyrod Taylor season anymore. This isn't a let the rookie sit and learn season anymore. That mentality needs to go away, because what we discovered in Justin Herbert has just changed everything. It's time we make a shift, and a big one. It's time we stand up and confidently say, we have a quarterback that's proven he's not only capable of carrying this offense, but can also be capable of beating almost any team in the NFL. And it's time we start treating him like it. Trust in Justin Herbert. He's special. He's already proven it. This week 6 bye is the time to have the courage to change the culture of this team. Look at your previous 4 games. What went wrong? We took our foot off the gas. We let Herbert do his thing in the first half, but always tightened his leash in the second half, which causes us to crumble. What happened? We've blown 4 games by a score or less. 1 time is unlucky, 2 times is unfortunate, 4 times and something's wrong. Take this opportunity to step back, realize what you have, and make a change. The experience that you've gained over the last month is too valuable to throw away. Unleash Justin Herbert. It's time, and I hope they realize that this week. Now, lastly, I do want to touch on opportunity as well, because it almost all seems to be lined up too perfectly for the Chargers. Let's say we regain a majority of our playmakers back from injury. Awesome. Let's say the culture changes to it's Herbert season. Awesome. We're a threat. What now? Let's take a look at the schedule. Week 7, Jaguars. We'd squash them. Week 8, Broncos. We'd squash them. You see, now we're cooking. Justin Herbert has won a couple in a row. Watch out. Week 9, Raiders. Close game, but winnable. Week 10, Dolphins. Again, squashed. Week 11, Jets. Annihilated. Can Justin go 5-0 after the bye? You bet your ass. Week 12, Bills. It'd be winnable, but let's say we do drop this one. Week 13, Patriots, close but also winnable. Week 14, Falcons, winnable. Week 15, Raiders, let's sweep them. Week 16, Broncos, squashed. Week 17, Chiefs, we've proven we can beat this team, but let's say we do drop this one. And just like that, you're looking at a record of 10-6. Some would say impossible. I say completely possible. After looking at our schedule, looking how close we've come to beating these other dominant teams in the NFL, I really feel like we're only missing one ingredient to make a huge run, and that ingredient is trust. Trust in Herbert. Trust that this team can get healthy. Trust that we're not in a learning curve year. Trust will lead to wins. Wins will lead to confidence, and confidence will lead to a legitimate playoff run. It's kind of crazy. Like, I've been down, and I've been angry, and I've been confused. And yet, when I step back and really take a look at this 1-4 team, we're not what we look like on the surface. We're not a 1-4 team. We're bigger than that, and much bigger than that. I firmly believe we're capable of proving this to everyone once we've regrouped, healed up, and make our counterattack in week 7. And in a season where there's more opportunities to make the playoffs, I feel like even an 8-8 or 9-7 record may just well be enough. And what a landmark accomplishment this would be for Herbert and the Chargers. The timing, opportunity, experience, and personnel are just too perfect. Can we grab this opportunity? We'll just have to wait and see. Well, guys, that's all I've got for today's video. Do you legitimately believe the Chargers can go 10-6 by season's end? If not, and if you disagree with me, it's totally fine, man. Please put your predictions in the comment section below. As always, we'll be doing a run through every single week for every single game of what I think's gonna happen. But truthfully and realistically, I think this team is getting ready to make a run if we're able to adapt and make the right decisions about our identity. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. Hit us up with a like and sub on your way out if you did enjoy this content. We'll see you next time, and as always, bolt up and stay frosty.